Well, good morning, everyone, and once again, welcome to the Wynwood Buddhist Temple's virtual Dharma service. As usual, we will begin the service with the singing of the Vandana and Tisarana. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. The sutra for today is Verses Reaffirming the Vows. This is the English version of the Jusei Ge, and is found on page 117 of the Red Service Book. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Path. If I fail in any way, may I not attain Buddhahood. Should I not provide to all for countless kalpas to come, aid in times of suffering, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will reach enlightenment, but unless my Buddha name resounds throughout the universe, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will practice the noble path, wisely, mindfully, free of greed, seek to reach the supreme way, be a guide to one and all. May my power shine great light to illumine and dispel the darkness of the three poisons, and save all from suffering. With eyes of wisdom I'll remove the darkness of ignorance. I will close all evil paths, open gates of highest good. When I attain Buddhahood, light will shine throughout all lands, light brighter than sun and moon, outshining all heavenly lights, giving my virtues to all, not forsaking anyone. I will proclaim the Dharma like the roar of a great lion, bowing before all Buddhas, steadfastly gaining virtues, with wisdom fulfilling my vows. I shall be a guide to all, like the wisdom of my teacher. May my wisdom also shine all throughout the universe and illumine one and all. If I shall fulfill these vows, may all lands tremble with joy from the heavens. Wondrous flowers rain down upon all the lands. Among the earth, 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 among the earth. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namandam sunamandam namandam 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 namandam. Will you join me in reciting the Golden Chain of Love? This is found on page 126 of the Red Service Book. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I would try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I would try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. The Dhamma talk for this morning will be delivered by Keiji Kukino, who is a longtime board member of the Wynwood Buddhist Temple.
Good morning. This morning I thought I would talk about the significance of Memorial Day. to me. Memorial Day, as you all know very well, is a federal holiday set aside each year to honor and memorialize those who had died serving the United States military. We also use this occasion to honor others who preceded us, who left something of significance that we want to remember and be thankful for, be it something of material value or of spiritual value, or simply for having given life to us. In our everyday lives, we often forget to acknowledge and give thanks to the countless number of people who had a hand in sustaining and nurturing us throughout our lives and helping us become what and who we are. So having this special day set aside each year makes it easier for us to make a special effort to acknowledge our predecessors who made it possible for us to enjoy this life that we have today. For today's message, I would like to just focus on persons who were particularly instrumental in my becoming more closely associated with the Honganji. Like many of you, I was born into the Honganji family. My parents were devout Honganji members. I can still see them in my mind's eyes, them kneeling before the altar every morning and every evening, reciting the Nembutsu. They also made sure that they went to the temple for memorial services for their ancestors. My mother used to always admonish me about proper Buddhist behavior. I used to hear Bachigataru a lot for my misbehaviors. I also did go to Sunday school in our neighboring town of Kapo'o, where we learned mostly about the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Paths, and read passages from the Dhammapada. They were mostly about good behavior, I believe based on Confucianism. So my understanding of the Honganji teachings was basically on that and the rituals that I observed and the impressions that those rituals gave me. So it was my understanding that the memorial services were done to assure that the spirit of the deceased would not be wandering, by giving them comfort through those services and be allowed to settle down. This belief was reinforced during Obong, when it is said that the spirit of the deceased returns, and we hold special services for them. As some of you may know, my second child was born with a congenital heart condition. Her heart was deformed. Only one side of her heart, the side that pumped the blood to the body, was developed. The other side of the side that pumped the blood to the lungs was not developed at all. But there was a hole between the two chambers. And so each time the heart pumped, some blood did go through the lungs. But that was not enough. And so she didn't have enough oxygen in her blood. And that is normally referred to as blue baby. The doctors told us that her only chance for survival was a heart transplant. But this was back in 1963. And any attempt at doing the heart transplant were just experiments being done on animals. So, although any hope of having a heart transplant was out of the question. The doctor suggested that we may want to make whatever life she had remaining a little more comfortable by redirecting one of her brachial artery to the lungs, thereby forcing more oxygenation to take place, and that will make her more comfortable. Unfortunately, my daughter, who was then less than 2 years old, could not survive the ordeal. Because I considered myself a Honganji Buddhist, it was only natural that we had our daughter's funeral at the Honganji, and we went to the Hawaii Betsing. After the service, the minister advised us of the 7-day service, the 49-day service, the 100-day service, etc. He somehow led me to believe that we needed to have these services every week for 7 weeks. So believing that, as I did, we went to the temple every week, praying that our young child would be safe in her journey. Then just prior to the 49th day service, we moved to Kaneohe, our new home in Kaneohe. And I learned that Reverend Shirasu, whom I had known since childhood, was residing at the Kailua Temple. And so I contacted him and asked him if he would do this 49-day service at our house, and at the same time do a house blessing for us. And that is how I became involved with Kailua Honganji, which is now known as Windward Buddhist Temple. And there, at this temple, I met and became friends with Richard Wasai. After one of the Sunday services, I mentioned to him about my daughter's funeral and the 7-day services that we did for her safe journey. Then Richard told me that those services were not meant for my daughter, but it was meant for me. His remarks totally confused me. All this time I thought that those services were for the deceased. But he was telling me that it was not for the deceased, but was for me. Because I was totally confused, he suggested that I might go and have a talk with Reverend Yoshiaki Fujitani, who was then serving at the Betsuing, for clarification. In meeting with and talking with Reverend Fujitani, I learned about the primal vow. And that was the very first time I heard about the primal vow. I learned about the primal vow for the very first time, and that the vow, it was the vow that assured us all sentient beings birth in the Pure Land. This vow, I realized, is the very foundation, the basic tenet of Shinran's teaching. It is the primal vow that gave meaning to the recitation of the Nembutsu. It was through these serendipitous incidents, my daughter having died so young, and the discussion I had with Richard, that totally transformed my thoughts, my understanding, and appreciation of the Nembutsu. To me, therefore, my daughter and Richard are my bodhisattvas, the ones who awaken me, My daughter's short life made me come to and connect with the Honganji, and Richard for helping me open my eyes and awaken me to Shinran's teachings. So, as I reflect on this Memorial Day, I not only give thanks to the men and women in the military who gave their lives for the country, and all those who made it possible for me to be here and enjoy the life that I have, but to especially acknowledge my daughter and Richard Wasai as two of my many bodhisattvas for having awakened me and helped me become to better understand and appreciate Shinran. I'm sure all of you can recall someone or people who had influenced you too, who guided you and taught you lifelong lessons that you are forever grateful. So on this occasion, let us acknowledge them. And in gratitude, let us say, Okage-sama de. Namandal, 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 namandal.
The gatha for today is Flying Free, and this is followed by the Nembutsu.
Where I can stand by the sea.
Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. Beings are numberless, I vow to save them. Desires are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, I vow to become it. Well, thank you very much for attending our virtual Dharma service, and we hope to see you again next week. Next week's speaker will be Shirley Yanagisawa, who is also a board member of the Wynwood Buddhist Temple. In the meantime, please take care and be healthy. Thank you. Goodbye.